Well, Courtney B. Vance, after all these years on television and movies and Broadway, you got your first Emmy Award nomination. Tell us about how you got that news.
I was with my wife taking the kids to school, and we heard the news, and we were very, very excited. You never know how things are going to go, and sometimes if you hope for it too much, it doesn't go your way. And we've all seen those award shows where they have the caption of the 4 or 5 people, and they say the first syllable of someone's name, and the other 4 nominees go, or so we have to win, lose, or draw. We knew what we did. We had an awesome time doing the series, and we became family, and the show became hit around the world for something that was so well known as the O.J. Simpson story to become as big as it became was, the fact that it was received as well, we won. It was received universally the way it was received, we won. Now, whether or not we get all 22 of the Emmy Awards that we were nominated for, we can't focus on that. We won. We did what we set out to do, and more so.
Well, and to me, we have the Olympics coming up, and they talk about degree of difficulty in certain sports. The degree of difficulty here to me was high because a lot of us know the story, basically the story. And I know a lot of people, when it was announced, they were like, really? They're going to do a fictional or a scripted program about this? So what was your first reaction when they approached you about just the concept of it?
Chris, I wanted to know how serious they were. I had the same reservations. John Travolta, so eloquently said it over and over again in his interviews. He really was reluctant to join on because he wanted to know, are you serious? What are we going to say? How are we going to say it? What's going to be the take? And how's it going to be received? Is this the movie of the week kind of thing, or is this something that we're really going to commit our time, energy, and our money to ensure that the best story possible is put forward? So it was, I think Fox and FX put their money where their mouth was, and they supported us all the way down the line, and they gave us our freedom, but at the same time they gave us carte blanche to pretty much to do the job as was presented to us. And because of that freedom and because of that trust, we gave them something I think that the network has never seen before. So everyone is happy, everyone is ecstatic, and it just shows what can happen if when people are working toward the same goal.
How did they approach you, and what level of how many scripts did they allow you to see before you decided to take the role?
They showed me 2, and I can't remember. I think maybe the first and the second, or the first and the third, or the third and the fifth, or something like that. It was clear. It was clear from what was on the page that this thing was going to be huge. So there was never any doubt. The only question we had was, number one, can we do it as actors? Can Courtney pull off Johnnie Cochran? Can Nathan pull off? Can David Schwimmer pull off? Can Sarah pull off? So those were the questions nobody knew, and the wigs are Victoria Wood, who did the majority of the wigs on the show. She certainly made us look good, but we still got to deliver, like the mailman. We got to deliver. So we had to. We were all nervous. We were all a little butterflies for the first 2 or 3 days, but eventually we started laughing and joking and having a good time, which you have to do because the job is so serious at times, and the topic was so serious. That it became, we found every opportunity to tease each other and laugh, and I loved the jury. They were my children, and so any chance I had, I went over to them and just started talking to them. And Sarah hated me because they loved me and they didn't love her, and so we just used that to fuel what was happening on the screen. So we had a good time. We had a lovely, lovely time.
Well, I was wondering about the tone of maybe behind the scenes, because I've always heard from actors over the years that a really dramatic project often is very lighthearted behind the scenes, just to keep everybody's spirits fun. And sometimes a comedy is very serious behind the scenes because you're putting all the humor out on the screen. Is that kind of the case in your career?
Well, I don't know about the comedy, but I know sometimes comedy ain't funny, and a film is a film, and trying to make something out of nothing is work. And and you're right, when something is as serious as the O.J. Simpson trial, you got to laugh, you got to let off some steam, and we used the galley, we used the jury, we used each other. Anthony Hemingway one of our directors, would bring in his little cube speaker, and just in between shots, okay, everybody get up, let's do our little boogie woogie, and get it out of our system. Come on, hands in the air like you just don't care. Hi. Everybody was having a good time. Everybody screaming and yelling, and hey, okay, we're ready. Okay, everybody buckle down. Let's come back, and action. So everyone was in it to win it. Everyone from the extras to the crew members to the marketing people, and the fire gets lit once they start to see the dailies come back. They start to say, "Oh, you are kidding me! This is going to be." I mean, the marketing people were so ecstatic. We gave them a piece of gold. They didn't have to sell this thing. This thing was selling itself, and it's very beautiful to know that I was a part of something like that. It warms my heart. It makes me, know that I can say in my lifetime that I've had 3 or 4 or 5 projects that I can point to and go, yeah, I was there. Yes, I was there for O.J. Simpson. I was there.
You mentioned Anthony. I wanted to bring up the fact that he and John Singleton and Ryan Murphy, 3 of your directors, are all nominated at the Emmys as well. In a project like this, which is an ongoing project, and you've got different directors, how are those 3 men different? How do they approach their work differently?
Well, John is an auteur. John Singleton isn't. So he would come to the set maybe 2 weeks before he directed the episode and just, Courtney, I'm so excited. This is going to be so great, man. Courtney's so great, Courtney. And, we were in the middle of an episode. So it's like, okay, John, let go, John, I gotta go do the scene. And action, John, hello. And so, he was like a kid in a candy store. He was so very excited about getting started. And Anthony, because he is got that first AD, and also he actually edits and as he's shooting in his mind, so he knows exactly what he needs and what he doesn't need, and makes it fun and all. And because he was doing, the lion's share of them, I believe 6 of them. He had a whole different kind of rhythm with us. John, what I think was supposed to do 2 or 3, but he had another project he had to go to. He had to finish up. And Ryan did the first 2, and he said this is some of the hardest things he's ever shot, because there was so many shots, many setups. There was, I think, 150 setups in the first each of the first 2 episodes. So it was a big project to get the exposition out of the way, so we can start to, the piece can start to fly, and people can, I remember that, and that. I remember that. I didn't know that he was. Look at that closet they had. Woo! Look at Marcia Clark's hair. Woo! Chris Dart need to get a new wardrobe. Woo! I mean, it's so the people started to see all the things behind the scene that they had wondered about, and it just fueled this. It just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And by the time the 10th episode rolled around, we had the whole world in the palm of our hands, and it's such a blessing, such a blessing.
Well, you well know through your wife, who's worked with Ryan several times, once you're in his universe, you start getting cast in a lot of his projects. Is that something you would like?
Oh, I love Ryan. I love being a part of. I mean, who wouldn't? He is the Cat's Meow now. He's the hit television producer. Excuse me.
Sure.
And he is a joy to work with and for. He's calm, collected, and cool, and prepared when he comes to the set. I mean, that's the thing about all three of the directors. They were so well prepared when they came and to the set. And sometimes is the best laid plans of mice and men, and you can come in and plan all you want to, and something happens. You gotta roll with it. And so that's a part of all of them too. They can roll with whatever and keep it moving and keep it moving. We need to make our day. We need to get out of this location. We need to go. And you got to have somebody on your side that can go that fast and still give you the specificity and the color and the nuance, and from your production designers and your editors, and that's all of that. Everyone has to be on the same page, so that we're not, especially when you have different directors directing different episodes. So it behooves us all to be in the same world. So it's a mini miracle when something like this happens.
When you've got just a plain fictional role that is not a real life person, you can obviously, along with the director and the writers, you can come up with whatever you want. But here, you've got a true life person. So what was the key for you as you looked back at Johnny's trial performances and his speeches and his interviews? Where did you find that key where you went, okay, I think I've got this?
I didn't do the speeches and I didn't do the trial. I felt a little overwhelmed by his life, the very bigness of it. And so I purposely did not look at any transcripts or any court TV or anything like that. I said, I'm just going to read Jeffrey Toobin's book and read and try to find a simpler way in. Because once I went in, I would be able to, once we started moving fast, I would be able to, like a tuning fork, okay, this is my note. What's my note? Okay, I'm singing. And that's, as we were rolling, and after that third episode, we started to fly. We started to levitate, and everybody had to be able to roll with us. And as we did all the things that we were doing, and they had to take the baton and go, and I can catch my breath, and that person is running with it, and then he or she's gonna, and so the baton was passed seamlessly time and time again, and all of a sudden, this ceases being about OJ, and this is about much larger issues, and because it went on for from April to October, it became something that people couldn't, they had to go back to old school television. They couldn't, get ahead of it and fast forward and scroll through the commercials. They had to actually sit there. It's Wednesday's Prince Spaghetti Day. Now we have to sit and watch yes, you have to sit and watch it. You can DVR it if you want to, but some people said, I need to watch it right now. I don't want to DVR. So it was a different experience for us to actually have lived through it and go through it again. And there's some people who actually knew the case intimately, remember it, and still was got swept up in it. So it was a testament to our work and to the power of television and the power of this story. This story is not going to go anywhere.
So many people. So many people in your cast are nominated at the Emmys. I'm sure you're all going to have a wonderful time at the show as well as the post parties, just getting back together again. What were a couple of moments as you were acting opposite somebody else that in your mind you're thinking, oh wow, they are really on it today?
Yes, that it has happened a lot of times, I didn't act a lot of times with all the other actors. David Schwimmer and myself, we didn't have any major scenes together. He was in the courtroom with us, but he and I didn't have any major scenes. But I did with John Travolta. I did with my team, Angie Parker and Dale. We had I had major scenes with Nathan Lane and of course Sarah Paulson and Chris Darden. So everyone knows the drama and the trauma between Chris Darden and myself, and between Marcia Clark and Johnnie Cochran. So people were waiting to see the behind the scenes. What was his life like? Was he Teflon? Did he too have et tu Brute? He too had pain and had to deal with it. It's another little side note is that so many of the people that were involved in this case ended up, dead not too long after. It was a grueling situation. It was a grueling, mentally, physically, emotionally. I'm sure all of the jury members too. They took a toll on them that year plus, sitting in that room, and going back and forth in the jury room, just sitting. It's a terrible tragedy. And she and Ron Goldman, if not Juice, who?
That's right. I so wish Johnny was still around, and not all, just from the standpoint of doing trials and cases and so forth. But I would have loved it. What do you think how would he reacted to this? Do you think he would have enjoyed it?
To the show? I think
Yeah.
he would have enjoyed it. I think because it's so entertaining, and he would, the bedroom scene. Ooh, my wife is beautiful. He would have been so enamored, and he would have had fun with it, because he had fun. He knew this landscape. He knew this world, and so better than anybody. And consequently, he knew that it was a chess match, and he won the chess match with Marcia. And it's unfortunate that she didn't understand the game until late in the game. That the game was all about perception, all about the perceived notion of what people thought about O.J. Simpson, which is why he went into O.J. Simpson's house and took down all the white people and put up black people, because he knew the jury was coming through there and they had to see a black man, because he knew he was going to do in his closing. He was going to go up to them and do what the white defense attorney did in the Rodney King case, or the prosecution did in the Rodney King case. And an all-white jury, the prosecution went up to the jury and said, "Do your job," which is code for do what you need to do to make sure the police officers walk. And that's why Marcia Clark probably should have fought harder for a different venue, Santa Monica potentially, or campaign for a couple more white jury members on there. So when they got in the jury box, it would be a fight. Right now, the jury member, the two jury members that were in the O.J. Simpson case, they were overwhelmed. They were exhausted, and they caved. I think they just said, "You know what? I'm done. I can't argue with these folks. I'm tired of them. It's been a year. I'm out." And they just said, "Okay, I agree with you. It's unanimous." And that's I don't know how justice is served in that sense, and that because it really should have been more balanced jury selection, so that it could be fought out in there. It needed to be. I think it should have been fought out. And there's no way that after a year and a half of testimony, they should come back in 3 hours. So
that was very surprising. Well, it's one of the best programs I've seen on television in years. And just so much compliments and congratulations to all of you involved. And so glad for all of your Emmy nominations. I had one other awards related question. I was so thrilled a couple of years ago when you won the Tony Award, because I knew how much that would mean to you, having a Broadway and a stage background. Tell us about that night and your memories of that night.
Well, it was one of the most exciting nights. My wife was there, and Tom Hanks and our Lucky Guy family. Again, I know I was nominated twice before, and I put a lot of stock into it. I was so nervous for the whole month that the Tony voters were coming in the theater, and I just had to give them a wonderful show. And on this one, I said, and I lost. And this one, I said, they didn't call my name. And this one, I said, you know what? I'm going to have fun. I'm not going to do my show. And I just did my show. I had a phenomenal time. And even when it came down to the last day or two before that evening, we had that evening before that matinee performance, and then everybody went back to their dressing rooms with their dresser, and they got themselves ready. And I said, I am going to have a fabulous time. If I hear them say Courtney, I know I won. If they say l or sh or anything other than Courtney, and that's what we all listen to. We listen to the first syllable of our name. And if you hear the k, it's on.
Well, I hope you hear the ka in a few weeks in downtown LA at the Emmys. That would be phenomenal. It's one of the most amazing categories I've ever seen. If you look at those the 5 men that are in there with you.
Oh man, it's crazy, Chris. I love all the shows too. My mother and I watch Night Manager. She loves Luther. I mean, it's just, wow.
Well, I think you've got the right attitude. Go in there, have a good time, meet all those men. All of you just have a celebration and a party, because one of you is going to come out victorious, but the other ones are, it's thrilling to be there.
It is absolutely thrilling to go through this whole month process of being an Emmy Award nominee. So I'm not going to miss the moment while worrying about whether or not I'm going to win or not. That's already done.
Well, thank you so much. Glad to talk to you today.
Thank you so much, Chris. Have a good day.